Yay, that was easy. Okay, this is Patricia Corey, your girl on the beat, bringing you a test run for a moment of Zen. I have gotten my minimum 1,000 subscribers, in fact, 1,207. And so I get to live stream now. So if you are one of my subscribers, just click on the chat to show me that you did, in fact, you were in fact able to see this live test. And if it works, oh my God, I will be now probably doing all of my videos and messages and hopefully some interviews of others on the platform using live stream YouTube. Oh, there you are, Cosmic Gypsy. How cool is that? You know, I have to say that I am probably one of the least capable, technologically speaking, people on the planet. And so I couldn't imagine that I could do something, oh, how great, as wonderful as to be able to enable live streaming on YouTube. So what I always do, oh, sweetheart, thank you, Ascension Pioneers. What I usually do is, as you probably know, is I record it on Facebook and then I upgrade to here. But that's no longer necessary. Oh God, I'm really thrilled. So get ready because as you know, I do a lot of spontaneous things, but I would also like to engage with all of you and get that chat going, get more people involved. So this is just a test, as I said, but there you are. Blessings to all of you. And I promise that when it comes, I'm not quite sure how I post. Yeah, there must be a way for me to post on YouTube that I'm coming up with a live stream. And who knows, I might even set a fixed date for that. So, hi, Peter. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, this is so great. I am not thrilled with Facebook, and I don't know how long I'll be there, but I am going to do everything possible to be more present on YouTube and bring you some quality besides the moment of Zen, which is your reflective. Yeah, I know, Cosmic Gypsy, I have a problem because the backlighting is, I'm in a room with 3 windows and always bright light. So I have to figure out who is Hakeem. I have to figure out how to resolve that. I may have to even turn the desk around. But anyway, that's part of doing the testing and I'll get it fixed. Yeah, thanks, Peter. I have the angry bird on one side of me because that's me when I roar like we're mad as hell and we're not going to take it anymore, which is part of my persona. And on the other side, I have the Buddha, which is a bigger part of me, which is the energy of just knowing that the ultimate experience, spiritual experience, is just to be in the moment and to trust it and to find the balance. But there is an angry bird inside Patricia Corey, and fortunately, it is subdued by the humor and the love and joy that permeates my personality. So I will work out the kinks. Thanks, Cosmic Gypsy. And I really want to, now that I'm live, I want to just tell you guys, I see that you always are there and you see my posts, and I really am very grateful that you follow me. And please tell others if they want some uplifting information once in a while in this mayhem that we're in, to sign up for my channel and let's grow it a little bit so we can have an alternative to the confusing, often depressing, tormented, conflicted reality that is news and alternative news. Man, oh man, there is stuff flying. I wanted to say shit flying, but I was going to control myself. But what the heck? It's my first, and it's only a test anyway. So yeah, it's flying. And I try to bring balance, perspective to people so that maybe a little bit of a filter, not a screen, because it's up to every individual to screen. Oh, thank you. How am I going to talk when I'm getting such wonderful feedback? I was saying it's up to every individual to screen everything that comes into their conscious field. But if I can filter some of it out as far as the rational, grounded perception that I bring to you, then so be it. I will do that. Yeah, it's pretty tough right now. I wasn't, because this was going to be just a test, I wasn't going to really delve into anything deeply, but I am, obviously, if you follow me, you know that I'm very discerning when it comes to anything to do with the body politic and QAnon and the deep state and the Kabul and the sex trafficking and Trump and oh my God. But I will tell you this. One of the great things that Trump has going for him is that everybody that, in my perspective, in my opinion, is that everybody who, oh, I get you now. Thanks, Cousin Jesse. Everybody that I feel should be in Gitmo hates his guts. So when you look at these maniacal, very dark individuals, I'm not going to name them today, but you know who I'm talking about. And they hate him with such a passion. And that speaks well of him. You know what I'm saying? So on the other hand, I don't really trust any political figure 100%. And I think it's our job to truly examine, discern, study, look through what's being put on our plate. And in fact, I have repeatedly referred to, it's hard to talk with all your wonderful comments. Let me just make this one comment. I have repeatedly referred to the Oz, that the 99% of the population is still looking at, I am the mighty Oz, and looking for the heart and the brain and the way back to Oklahoma, Kansas, sorry. But some of us, and I know that includes you, are looking behind the man, behind the curtain, behind the mighty Oz, to the little man turning the wheels of the mighty Oz. And it's a beautiful metaphor for what we're going through right now, right? All right, let's see here. Thank you, Carolyn. I appreciate that. It's a fine balancing act, staying in positive mode and in also speaking truth as much as I understand it. And most importantly, and I just said this yesterday on Facebook, we seriously must find a thread of humor, because in the insanity that's underway right now, people are losing their sense of humor. In fact, comedians even say it's getting harder and harder to do any stand-up because people are losing the capacity to enjoy humor without getting into some kind of profile of political correctness or who are you targeting or that hurts my feelings, I'm offended, etc. And you know, if that's your profile, you don't want to be anywhere near me, because I don't believe in political correctness. I believe in honesty and truth and humor. Neither am I determined to offend anyone, but you know, if your decision is to be sensitive to every single, I mean, people are fighting over whether or not you wear a mask or not. And the running rap right now is, if you're wearing, from the people who are fear glued to their fear. So their rap is, if you refuse to wear a mask, then you want, somebody said this to me, if you refuse to wear a mask, Patricia, then what you're saying is you want me dead. Hello? No, if I refuse to wear a mask, it's because I don't believe in being muzzled, bound to fear, and buying into the drama. Does that mean that I would walk into a hospital without one? No, I won't walk into the hospital, right? Does it mean that, if I have to sit in my house a little bit longer? Okay, but you won't see me wearing a mask. I'm not going to do that. I think of it as a symbol of enslavement and silencing, and I'm not going to do it. Just like I'm not going to take a vaccine and several other things, which are going to be things that we have to confront in the time ahead. So in the meantime, before we set our sights on that kind of negative outcome, I believe in the no-win. I do not believe in the no-win scenario. You've heard me say this before. Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise said it best when he was asked how he beat the Kobayashi Maru experiment in the film Star Trek One. This thing where they blow up the ship in a test situation, and Kirstie Alley's the captain, and because she doesn't, it's an experiment, Kobayashi Maru experiment, and she blows up the ship because she doesn't know what to do. So the only captain who has ever beat the experiment is my hero, Captain James T. Kirk. So she asks him, how did you do it? Nobody but you ever beat the Kobayashi. How did you do it? And he said, I don't believe in the no-win scenario. Talk about a line. Let me say that I am a writer and a screenwriter. And oh my God, what I would have given to write that line. I do not believe in the no-win scenario. And so she presses him and he said, but how did you win? And he said, I changed the rules. I love it. You know, those early Star Treks, they were just phenomenal. Even in their simplicity and their elementary sets and all that. I'm talking about the original Star Trek with Kirk and Leonard Nimoy and all of the four giants that were the beginning heroes of the ship. Those were the days. And, you know, this silly, look back at it now, rudimentary villains and monsters and whatever, but so much wisdom. Because Gene Roddenberry was from another time and place. He was a walk-in for sure. And he brought us so much wisdom, starting with the idea that there could be a civilization in space, a multi-race, multi-species civilization in space that worked in harmony for the betterment of the galactic community. Did I get off track or what? Just get me in front of a camera and watch out. All right, let me look at your comments. I didn't even expect it because I've got this whole deal like to test your live stream. Click here after going through a few hoops. And then here you all are. Let me see what you're saying. Oh, yeah, Galactic Society soon. You know, I think this is coming really soon. Nobody's even talking about the fact. And by the way, that's from Kara. Who said that? Let me check. Oh my God. Oh, thanks, Essential Pioneers. I have no affinity for the later Star Trek. But when you got Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise and Mr. Spock and the crew, yeah, that's my kind of guys. I love it. It really, if you think about it, didn't it expand our minds so much? What a huge influence it was. I love my Trekkies. It was Cosmic Gypsy said Galactic Society soon. You know, I really think, okay, what was it? 2 days ago, the Pentagon showed clips of UFOs and basically said UFOs are real. Nobody even noticed. They just slipped it on there in the middle of the hysteria that is our, I'm not supposed to say the word, so we're going to call the savvy people on YouTube call it the beer virus. In the middle of all the hysteria, the Pentagon just mentions the fact that UFOs are real and nobody seemed to notice. But me and a few other wonderful awake folk who are paying attention. And I think that it's not long now before we finally have, we've been having disclosure, but I think it's coming big time. And let's just hope they don't do a fake attack, because there are a lot of people who do not want, there's a system that doesn't want Trump to win, doesn't want the planet to be freed, doesn't want humans to be sovereign, et cetera, et cetera. And we're in the middle of this. You know, we really are in Armageddon. We're in it. This is World War III. We're in. It just doesn't look like what we thought that would be, but we're in it. And it's not about nations against nations, as it has been throughout time. It's about the human race against, let's call it reptilians, let's call it Satanists, you choose your name. But the bottom line is it's dark and light in the great battle. And do you know what? We're going to win this. This is a no-brainer. The light wins this. And all of my work, my life, the Syrian High Council, the wonder of being able to bring back all that, bring back, that's a Freudian slip, bringing it back from my life in Syria, maybe. But to be able to be that channel for these wondrous, conscious beings and to have served in that way is the greatest gift of my life. And I hope more material is coming. But in the meantime, yeah, here I am, little Patricia. Actually, big Patricia, always helping as much as I can to get people grounded, to help that positive thread, to help see the win, victory, and hard-earned victory. It's coming. Okay, Peter T, hello. Yeah, the mass, he says, Peter says the mass awakening is inevitable. Well, the Syrian High Council say it's only when you're completely up against the wall, when you're absolutely at the ultimate stage, that you rebel. And they also have described how as long as things are comfortable and we are fat cat, the chicken in every pot scenario, we get complacent. And that is part of the reason why we have allowed this runaway control of the planet to happen. Because, you know, especially our generation and the generations after mine, you know, we've had pretty much a fat cat society. I'm not talking about the entire world here, because we all know there's great suffering and poverty in many pockets of the world. But in our Western civilization in North America and Europe, there's been a pretty, and please, I don't mean to be exclusive of other countries that are doing well too, or that have been doing well, but in a generalized concept here, we've been the post-World War II generations that have been rebuilding from that and then enjoying a lot of comfort. And here we are. It's uncomfortable as hell, man. But we will win this. And a lot of that has to do with how much we stand up and be heard. And with every platform shutting down anything that resembles controversy, I hope I can still come to you. A lot will be determined by how many people I can get to tune in. I'm not very good at marketing myself. I just do what I can to get the voice out. Let me see. Oh yeah, big girl pants been on since I was born. Maybe it was because I was born 10 pounds, 2 ounces. So I was big on arrival, you know, 5'11" kind of gal over here with a big voice and a wonderful mother that told me to use it, and she taught me to use it. And above all, I really have a fearless approach to most of the things I do. And that's my message for everyone, is to remember that fear vibrates at a certain frequency, and that's why they use it all the time about everything. Everything. If you think about the mechanism that controls the planet or wants to control you, and you think about the fear laced into what you eat, what you drink, everything that's going to kill you, nuclear holocaust, the illnesses, viruses want to kill you, androids, satellites, I mean, earthquakes, destruction. And that vibratory signature is what a lot of people are plugged into, especially now. You know, I was laughing because a couple of days ago, we got a big announcement. There's another asteroid on its way in. It could destroy the Earth. And I laughed and thought to myself, haven't they kind of sewed up the fear vibratory secrecy for the moment with this virus? We need an asteroid too. Okay, bring on the asteroid. What else you got? Bring it on. We're big people. We're grown-ups. And we got your number, dudes. Now, the big thing to remember is that a lot of people, whoever is in charge here, whatever the politics are, we're not really sure. We have feelings and impressions and hope. I sure as God hope that there is a group of white hats, that Trump is a good guy, that there are good aliens, etc. That's my hope and my vision. But in the meantime, whatever that is going on in the big picture, in the smaller picture, these people that are in power, the governors like Newsom in California that are clamping down, and we won't even talk about Bill Gates. Give me a break. I call him Gatesy. How did this man become the king of planet Earth? He just rose up to power, interestingly enough. So what matters now is that we will be facing this tyranny at many levels. And one of them right now is in the states in the US. Some of the states, New York, California, strangely enough, as Trump said yesterday, strangely enough, a lot of them are Democrat states. They're locking you down fiercely. Punishment, military in the streets, police, rounding up people, a woman who gets arrested for taking her son to the playground. Meanwhile, they're releasing sex offenders. They just released 6 more sex offenders. What are they trying to create? A criminal state where the good people, the honest folk are locked up in their houses with their masks on, and the criminals are running the gangs on the streets? Hello? So just remember, stand up for your power and your liberty and your freedom, and really think about this, what this mask represents. And by the way, first they told us it absolutely was worthless. It did no good anyway, so don't wear one. It's actually could be worse. Then they told us, well, actually, it's really good to wear a mask. Then they told us, well, it's good and it's bad. Now we're hearing that, what's the latest? You're breathing it. I mean, personally, aside from the obvious that this mass population, it's kind of ludicrous. Imagine if you were an alien species looking in on the earth going, yeah, wow, I am powerless. I must not speak. I'm terrified of everything. I obey my master. Not this girl. Yes, depopulation. He's out. Carolyn says depopulation is Gates' foundation goal. Yeah, he's come out and said it. We must decrease the population. I think he said at one point by 15%, but what he really wants is like 90%. Because somebody's got to serve the masters, right? Some of us plebeians have to run the machines and well, of course they're going to robotize much, but they still want masters slaves to lord over. Yes, Carolyn says the meek shall inherit the earth, but we're not meek. We're strong, beautiful, powerful. And it's only when we get up against the wall that we finally rebel. And you know what? We are up against the wall. Peter says, is Gates a Martian? Yeah, I don't think so. I think he's an Anunnaki hybrid freak. Not my favorite person. Let's see what else. Yeah, Ascension Pioneer says, many of us have done this before. Yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I feel that, here's a question, and many of you will have a feeling about this. I think anybody that connects with me is probably galactic and very possibly a starseed. And we have this remote memory, or even less remote, of being in a world that was better. But, and so a lot of people write to me and say, I want to go back to my star, I want to go back to my planet or whatever. And my reminder always is this: when people say, I'm tired of this planet, and even I say it, and the reason why I say even I is not because I'm superior to it, but because if I'm talking about it, I want to include myself in the people that feel that way. Sometimes, I just want either to get through this or to get on with the next incarnation, if there will be, because we are always talking about ascension, and that would mean no more physical bodies. I kind of like having a physical body, jumping in the ocean and playing with my dogs and walking through a meadow and feeling the grass under my feet. I just would love a higher vibratory signature wherever I am, where love and consciousness are on a much higher level. And instead of being in constant fear, we're in constant love. And I'm ready for it. Yes, I am. Okay, remember Lyra, Sirius, and many home worlds. Yeah, Cosmic Gypsy. We've been around, huh? Not to mention the many lifetimes we've had in Atlantis. If you read my book, Atlantis Rising, they have described Atlantis being 100,000 years of civilization, and how even Atlantis rose and fell, rose and fell. So some of us have many memories of Atlantis, and some of them are glorious. For example, I remember a lifetime where I was in the priesthood of an early time in Atlantis, where we worked in caves with crystals. It's described in my book. And I also remember the end days. I was alive for that. And I think I've had a few lifetimes there. Peter says, have the High Council talked about the Earth moving out of the magnetic cloud and how it is affecting humans? Can you describe more what you mean by the magnetic cloud? Are you talking about the interplay between the sun and the earth and the solar magnetic fields and how it's relating to or interacting with the earth stratosphere? Peter, that question is for you. The Oort cloud. No, they have not described that. But what they do constantly talk about is how the sun is mutating. Surely it's kind of a long story to describe that part of the Syrian Revelations material. I think the first big introduction of that is, well, it's in the Cosmos of Soul, how the sun is getting ready to ascend. And then it's really described in Atlantis Rising, The Struggle of Darkness and Light. If you haven't read that book, you gotta read it. And the council constantly telling us that all of the planets in our solar system are activating quite violently. And that's very reassuring to us, because part of what we're going through is that the Earth is activating to another frequency. We're shaking off all this garbage, all this debris. And another thing that thank you for asking that question, by the way, the council, in the last book, The New Syrian Revelations, they talk about how we are now actually integrating very much with the fourth dimension. And by integrating, I don't mean that we're going to it, because the dimensions are everywhere within us, in every cell, and all around us. But that our pitch, our vibratory essence on planet Earth right now is interfacing more with the fourth dimension. And that means that we are, they call it fluttering. The fourth dimensional frequency is fluttering over the outer edges of the third. And then they apologize and say, forgive us for using terminology that's linear, like the outer edges, because that's still the paradigm for three-dimensional thinking. We're trying to help you visualize what we're trying to say using terms that you understand. But the truth is that if you were to describe the dimensions, the closer thing that would define them would be the expression of, let's say, a swirling gaseous field where they swirl in and out of each other. Oh boy, this is going to be fun when we finally get the lingo we need to, and more importantly, reach a state of consciousness where we get that. And we are reaching it. So many people now talking about timelines and string theory, of course, the wonderful Machu Picchu. That was a tongue tie mistake. Not Machu Picchu, which sounds like Machu Picchu, but Michio Kaku, who was one of the founders of the string theory and who I had the honor of interviewing on my radio show years ago, Beyond the Matrix. He talked about how the dimensions are interacting and how sometimes people are in another dimension, they don't realize it because there's so much similarity with the existing conscious realm of perception. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, be sure to read his book, Parallel Worlds. He also has a video up, Michio Kaku, Kaku, where he has depicted cases that he's dealt with people who recount how this woman, and of course it's enacted on film, recounted how she was walking through the mall in Los Angeles and people kept bumping into her straight on, head on. And she was getting more and more agitated because they just plowed right into her. And finally, the narration of the video was that actually she wasn't in the third. She was in another dimension. So that's pretty exciting. And in my new book, which is not new anymore, it's been out over a year, I talk about how that has happened to me, how the timelines, I've had a couple of experiences that are really bizarre. And I described to you how I think time, as we understand it, the best way to describe it would be the idea of a treadmill, a giant, let's go the space-time continuum. Imagine it being a gigantic treadmill and that parts of it are moving at one rate, speed, and then other parts are slipping back or slipping forward. Have you ever had, I'm sure you've had that happen to you where you're on a treadmill and it lags and you slip. And that's how I feel is happening to the space-time continuum. It's starting to mutate, it's starting to slip. So we can find ourselves on another timeline or in another dimension, but on another timeline where we then revert back and go to what just happened. That's happening to me and to a lot of other people. Let's see. Wow, Caroline, isn't that amazing? Oh, of course, you were near a pyramid. Wow. I have also a picture of what my group in Egypt, my last group, was amazing. Amazing. We went to Tel El Amarna, which is very, very difficult to get to. And that it was where the utopic society of Akhenaten was founded, because he knew that if he tried to stay in Egypt, the priests would kill him because he refused to bow down to the power ennead of the Egyptian pantheon of gods and to the power structure. So he took the whole group out to the middle of the desert and created this beautiful place, Tel El Amarna, where they were free to love and laugh and play music. And so we have the elongated skulls. There's no question that this was a community of ETs. There's no question to me, at least. I don't know. Why did I get off the track? Oh, yeah. Because when we were in the so-called tomb, which, I don't think it's a tomb, but felt more like some kind of an ET hangar or headquarters or something fabulous. My Egyptian guide was pointing something out on the wall, and we got a picture of his hand disappearing in the wall. No hand. And it's not you can tell when something is an error, or let's say a mechanical reason, or even lighting, what's the word I'm looking for? An illusion caused by lighting. No, this is, an indoor chamber, and this hand is basically pointing out what he's pointing out, and all you can see is his wrist up, just melting right into the wall. So exciting. Oh, guys. Okay. Well, basically, we're 3 or 4 people here. So it's been a wonderful opportunity to get to talk to you and get some feedback. But I might just go now. Let's see. Anything else? Anybody have any questions before I go? Okay, then I'm going to go for now. And thank you for catching my test, which turned out to be what? 35 minutes? Great. Spontaneous exchange. Love it. And so for what is today? Today is 1 May. Supposedly, some interesting things are supposed to happen today. And I'm talking about the global scenario. So keep your eyes open. And what was I going to share with you? Ah, yesterday, Trump issued an executive order calling up to 200 specialist reservists to active duty. And he claimed that it was a counter narcotics sweep of the Western Hemisphere. Now, I want to leave you with this question. If you were the president of the United States and you can simply tell a general coming over for lunch, let's get a couple hundred of our guys into the Western Hemisphere. Is that ambiguous enough? But, this is not something that requires an executive order from the White House. So I pay attention to these things. As I said, looking behind the curtain, why would Trump make such a demonstration of calling in specialist army soldiers for an operation unless he was wanting someone to really notice that he was doing this? Because, if I was the president, I wanted to do a counter narcotics activity, I would probably not announce it. I would just tell my generals, listen, I want you guys to move your troops through the southern border and, do A, B, C, and D. No, big announcement and executive order with signature. I think something's up, and I think arrests are coming. We're all hoping that. Let's take down this dark cabal and all these truly evil people. And let's get rid of their drug of choice. You know what I'm talking about. Oh my God, I'm looking at myself in the camera and I've got some dark rings. Time to get some makeup on. All right, I think I'll leave you that little vanity moment. And thank you all so much for helping me get through my test. I'm live now on YouTube. Rock on. Yes, Cosmic Gypsy, the wall was multidimensional. The whole place was multidimensional. I have had the most extraordinary experiences in Egypt. Thank you, sweetheart. I'm just tired. Thank you, Ascension Pioneers. Someday, one of my spiels that I will do is to tell you about the extraordinary things that have happened to me in Egypt, even though I do have the book, Where Pharaohs Dwell, but I haven't divulged everything. In fact, a dear friend of mine has been saying, when are you going to do a book on all the things that have happened to you in your life? Extraordinary things in Asia, in Tibet, in Egypt, in Mexico. It's a book that needs to be written, but I'm dancing as fast as I can. Love you guys. I will be back soon with I'm going to be live from here on in. So I'll keep you posted. Can't wait for your Ascension Pioneers. Are you on my next Bosnia trip? I'm not recognizing who's behind the name. Yeah, so excited. Bosnia Pyramid. We had to postpone it because of the situation. And so we're now going to be doing it in September. And we will be in the pyramid. Sweetheart. Silly me. That's you. Nice to know the woman behind the name. What was I going to say? Yeah, we're going to be in the equinox. We're going to be inside the pyramid of Bosnia, which is an active pyramid, with Sam Osmanagic in private meditation. I'm shooting for midnight, or private is all that matters. And I suppose it doesn't matter if it's midnight or daylight, because we'll be deep inside the pyramid, but on the 22nd. So I think I'm going to try to organize a global empowerment day where we activate pyramids in Egypt and activate Stonehenge. I have spoken with my dear friend who is the arch druidess of Stonehenge and asked her if we can link up, and she said if they let us in. So envision that freedom, envision liberty, the human spirit, sovereignty. Live it every moment. Even if people get their knickers in a twist because you tell them things they don't want to hear, say it anyway. Love you guys. I will see you soon. And thanks again for tuning in to my test. Ciao. Love you.